What fuel should I use in my diesel Mercedes? So a long time ago there was high sulfur diesel fuel in the United States, which I think most of you remember. And then we went to low sulfur diesel fuel. Fuel prices skyrocketed around 2007. And a lot of people started taking Mercedes diesels and using biodiesel or vegetable oil in them. I actually had a biodiesel refinery in my garage that me and two of my friends were doing. So hey, Chad and Sam, if you found me yet, I haven't forgotten the good old days. The most difficult dilemma though with diesels now, it seems, is do I run this ultra low sulfur diesel fuel in my car? And what biofuel options do I have available? So we're going to try to answer those. First of all, the low sulfur diesel fuel that Mercedes is, and that everybody is buying nowadays, which you have to have according to US government regulations, is apparently not harmful for your Mercedes diesel's injection pump, because diesel is so oily. You know, people thought that sulfur was a lubricant, and it does have some lubricating properties, but it's not like you would add it to engine oil to make engine oil work better. In fact, engine oil that has sulfur in it is actually regarded as crappy oil. There are better lubricatives. So, lubricants. So in this case, pump diesel is not a bad thing. You can put it in your car and go down the road. But if you want a little bit of extra protection, you can run Lubramali, Power Service, Diesel Clean. All of these have additives to boost the cetane and lubricity of your diesel fuel. So I'm not going to shake a finger at you for running any of these. It's still a great idea. Now, the next question that a lot of people ask me about is what biofuel options do I have? You can run B100 biodiesel in any Mercedes diesel that has a mechanical pump, as long as all of the O-rings in the pump are relatively new synthetic O-rings. So you may run into some leakage issues if you put it in like a 220D or a older 240D W115 chassis that uses an embedded rubber ring inside its delivery valve, or in a 601, 602, 603, 606 engine, which also uses an embedded rubber ring at its delivery valve. You may run into some leakage issues right off the bat. It will clean anything out of your fuel tank over a period of time that is dirty and disgusting, so be prepared for some clogged fuel filters. But overall, biodiesel doesn't harm the injection pump. A lot of the time, though, people get confused between biodiesel and waste vegetable oil or biodiesel blends, so we're going to try to clarify these items. First of all, heated up vegetable oil is not biodiesel. Vegetable oil is not a great fuel for Mercedes diesels. When I was growing up, I worked in an injection pump repair shop with my dad, and we saw a lot of vehicles that were run on waste vegetable oil. Most of them were bigger Ford trucks, but there were some Mercedes. And the amount of carbon they left in the engine, the amount of straight goo they left in the injection pump, almost always led the engines after 30 to 50,000 miles to missing, stumbling, loss of power, poor emissions, poor injection effect, difficult starting, you name it, waste vegetable oil can cause it. If you really want me to explain how, then I will. But I think the world has kind of figured out that waste vegetable oil is not an ideal fuel. Now, what is a biodiesel blend? A lot of people ask me this. A biodiesel blend is usually a commercially available diesel fuel that is available at a gas station pump that has a percentage of biodiesel in it. The highest percentage you will usually see is 20%, but in some cases 10% or 5% are available. This is not exactly the equivalent of putting ethanol-based fuel in ethanol in gasoline, because biodiesel has actually shown to have a neutral effect or a slightly beneficial effect because it lubricates so well. In fact, biodiesel is really the fuel of the future. And, you know, imagine this 84 Mercedes 300D or 87 300 SDL. You know, any of these cars will run on biodiesel with no problems. You just need to make sure that the biodiesel is refined properly. And that's where all the problems seem to come in. So if you're using biodiesel, make sure that it's been washed 3 or 4 times. There are a lot of videos that talk about the chemical process of this stuff, but you want to make sure that it's actually clean. So anyway, enjoy driving your Mercedes. Feel free to comment, like, share, subscribe, and if you haven't considered supporting us on Patreon yet, we'd love to have you. We're going to start working on Patreon-only content soon, so stay tuned. Enjoy driving your Mercedes.